Well, guess what, folks? The other day, Republicans in Kansas said, sorry, y'all. Redistricting ain't going to be happening. We can't gerrymander seats here. Well, guess what? In Kentucky, this news as well. There's one Democratic representative in Kentucky. A Republican leader there said, told the White House, nope, ain't going to happen either. So that's another issue that they have. Jordan, these Republicans, they already ticked off because Indiana Republicans voted it down. Now Kansas and Kentucky. So their whole plan to gerrymander the map is blown up in their face, and they really screwed up with because the actions that Democrats took in California and other places as well. And so it did not get them the results that they wanted.
I don't know. Can you? Okay, good. I'm on. No, it didn't get them the results that they want. I mean, I've long said this on this show and other places. There's only so much you can do and so much you can push. And then sometimes people say, we've had enough. They've clearly heard from their constituents at home that they don't want this. And I think some of them genuinely are concerned about the nation. I know we kind of poo-poo conversations about democracy, but they're seeing that for every action, there is a reaction. And Democrats can do just what they do. So if that's not the country that they want, it has to stop somewhere. And they're saying, you know what, in Kansas, Kentucky, it's stopping here. The buck stops here. And some of them are doing a great peril to themselves. There are some Republicans who will be primaried and who will not be reelected because of the decision they've made. And yet they're doing it anyway. And it goes to show there are some limits to Donald Trump's power, although sometimes it feels insurmountable. You got to keep fighting.
Well, you absolutely have to keep fighting. And Tyler, bottom line is, you can't just concede them. You must fight on every single level. And I got sick and tired of hearing people say, well, oh my God, what are they going to do? They can't do anything. You have to figure out every single possible way, push every button, consider every opportunity when it comes to fighting these folks trying to steal these seats.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's in turn done with like surgical precision, as you said before. And I think when things like this fail, I think it exposes how out of step these politicians are with the people they claim to represent. And I think people are continually learning and leaning in that participation plus the pressure can really disrupt even the most carefully drawn out plan or scheme that these elected officials are trying to put in place. And this isn't just about maps. I think it's about whose voices matter the most and whose futures decide what's behind these closed doors. And I think communities are continuing to stay vigilant and what it looks like to protect their right to vote and what it looks like to have a democracy that's representative of what they look like. And I think it all comes down into organizing. It all comes down in how we show up to really to disrupt these careful schemes that they're trying to do.
But what this also says to us, though, Rebecca, is that we cannot have people just sitting on the sidelines waiting. We can't have organizations. We can't have, and I'm talking about. I'm not talking about national civil rights groups. I'm talking about all these black organizations we have around this country. Too many. I just felt that too many people in 2025 were still in shock that these crazy deranged MAGA people chose to put back in the White House the insurrectionist liar in chief. And we folks were talking about taking time off, checking out of the process, doing all sort of other stuff. And I'm sitting there saying, no. This is a moment where you have to be strategic in how you battle in terms of what you focus on. And I'm saying to people right now, this is early January. You've got primaries coming up. And we better understand, we talk about politics, and this is the thing I need people to really understand, Rebecca. When we talk about politics, we talk about voting. We're not just simply saying, okay, fine, here's vote, that's what it is. No, politics is about the delivery of goods and services, the delivery of resources on a national, state, county, city level. And if you check out of a process, it's guaranteed you're probably going to get screwed. So this is not a moment where any of us, any black person could say, I'm sitting this one out. That simply cannot happen.
Roland, if you pay taxes, you need to make sure that you're getting your money's worth out of your government. And the only way you could do that is interact with your government. You have to show up. You have to show, you have to make sure that those in elected office, those in appointed office are being held accountable. You were talking about redistricting. What I saw today is that Governor DeSantis in Florida said he's going to call a special session in Florida in April to get them to gerrymander and try to net some an additional Republican seats in Florida. And so to your point of how different organizations and community groups can get together, well, here's an example. I was listening to Higher Learning the other day, and Van Lathan was saying the Black church brings about $10 to $15 billion a year. Right. And so we have all these Black churches in certain areas. We have a Black church, in the hood. Sometimes you have a storefront church on every corner, and then there's a liquor store on the other corner. Right. But my point in saying this is that we have places for people to convene and to organize. We have different places for people to connect. We need to activate all of our points of connectivity in 2026 to make sure we're engaging the community. It's not just the Divine Nine. Quite frankly, Democrats try to use that as a cheat code. And being someone within the Divine Nine, there's more that we could do to actually impact our communities and to mobilize. But we have institutions like the Black church. We have a variety of Black institutions. And we're seeing that this governmental regime is trying to defund us, is trying to go after our C3 status or whatever nonprofit status that we have, because they're trying to remove all the scaffolding and supports that we built in the Black community to be able to actually self-actualize and take care of ourselves. We have to double down on Black institutions in 2026, because ultimately this government, and maybe even the next government, is not here for us or is going to take care of our communities. We have to be the ones to show up and take care of our communities, and that requires us investing in Black institutions.
It's very interesting as you were talking about our tax dollars, and so people have to be thinking about that in a little different way. I was over the a couple of days ago, I was perusing YouTube, and I came across this movie I had never heard of. The movie was Playing Through, the story of Anne Gregory. And she was the first Black woman to play in the U.S. Public Amateur in 1956. She won some 300 golf tournaments around the country. I'd never heard of her. And I saw this movie. Her husband, who served in the Navy, taught her how to play golf. So if y'all go to YouTube and just type in Playing Through, the story of Anne Gregory, it's phenomenal. I, again, had never heard about her, never knew her story, but she was an amazing golfer. But there was something that you said that she also said. So she integrated a public golf course that was in Gary, Indiana. It was where a lot of Black folks played. So African Americans were banned from playing, was South Gleason Park Golf Course. And so in the early 60s, Gregory walks up. She says, quote, "My tax dollars are taking care of the big course, and there's no way you can bar me from it." And she said, "I'll see you on the first tee." And she went to the first tee. And she was like, "I dare y'all to call the cops." And then other Black people came as well. That's how that course got integrated. The point that you just made there is so critically important. These are our tax dollars. Exactly. These are our tax dollars for the school district, for the city, for the county, for the state, for this country. And I just need our people to understand this ain't no check out moment. This is the absolute check in moment. And we have to recognize what's going on. So I need folks to be focused. I need us to be engaged. I don't want to hear the pity party. And guess what? If there is we already know Republicans don't give a damn about Black people. Let's just be perfectly clear. Republicans don't give a damn about Black people. That's undeniable. But I made it perfectly clear because people are like, "Oh my God, you a shield?" No, I ain't no shield. If there's a Democrat who ain't doing their job, take their ass out. Listen, right now in North Carolina, there's a Black woman who's a state rep. Her name is I think Carla Cunningham. Well, guess what? She has voted with the Republicans on a number of bills. Democratic Governor Josh Stein just came out supporting her opponent in the primary, Reverend Dr. Rodney Sadler, who comes out of Bishop Barber's movement there in North Carolina. So guess what? I'm very clear. If there are people who are not doing their job, take their ass out. I ain't got no problem with that. I'm down with that 100%.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.